And welcome to Drive and Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan.
I'm Ryan.
And this is the podcast where we talk about 2 movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into today's episode, I want to talk to you about our Patreon. If you head over to patreon.com/Drive and Double Feature Podcast, you got fun games, fun conversations, all for $5 a month. You help support the channel. You help support friendship. And if you don't, then you hate friendship. Just saying. That's it. That's all I have to say. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You support friendship by listening to this podcast for free. That helps support us. But if you want to give us a little more help, you can check out our Patreon. Mm-hmm.
I thought I was supporting the podcast because I hated friendship.
Oh, I mean, you could do that too. Whatever reason you have in your head to listen to our podcast, go ahead. That's fine. You listen out of spite. Thank you for listening. That's fine too. But getting into today's episode, we are talking about Halloween. We're back at it again with John Carpenter with our second movie in this series. Technically, John Carpenter's third movie. 1978's Halloween's probably one of the most popular movies that we will talk about in this entire John Carpenter retrospective. Of course, he has other popular movies, very popular ones, but Halloween is one of those movies that kind of transcends just movies in general. People that don't love movies have probably seen Halloween. People know about Michael Myers. It's just one of those iconic movies. So I guess I'll ask you, Ryan, what was your first experience with Halloween, the movie?
Well, first off, I want to say thank you to this movie for inventing Halloween because, Halloween didn't exist until this movie came out.
Yeah. I was born after this one, and I don't remember those days, but it must have really sucked 1977 and below not having a holiday for creepy stuff.
People were just standing around doing nothing on October 31st.
Mm-hmm. Halloween happened and then invented so many of these tropes like trick-or-treating and getting killed on Halloween.
Candy was invented then.
No way, really?
Right?
Well,
Yeah.
I think candy had been around because the penny candy and stuff like that, but it was almost like a wheat bar or something. It became sweet after Halloween.
Oh, I see. They would just eat some oats. A handful of oats would just be like your candy bar. That's what they called it then, a candy bar.
Yeah, whenever you got a handful of oats and you kind of you mashed them together to make a bar. That was a candy bar. You see, we're a lovely film history podcast, and I hope you enjoy our
Hey,
insight.
Japan, how you doing?
Yeah, hey guys. Konnichiwa, as I would say. I say that all the time.
But no. Going back to what you said, what's my experience with the movie? So, my very first experience I remember with this movie is actually seeing it at the video store. Because I would frequently go to Blockbuster all the time, and I always remember the poster of this movie of the knife, the image of the mirrored knives going down, the orange knife, and it forms into the shape of a jack-o'-lantern. So I always remembered seeing that at the video store and just being like, oh, there's a movie just called Halloween, just named after the holiday. That's weird. And then eventually I saw it when I was I think I was 14 or something like that, and I thought it was super creepy, and I remember just loving it, and just instantly I was like, oh, I gotta see what happens next. And I eventually watched 1 through 5. I've never seen the 6th one, but then I skipped that one. I saw H2O, and I saw Resurrection and the Rob Zombie movies, and the Danny McBride written ones, but with David Gordon Green.
Yeah, of course. Yep, I've seen those too. Maybe we'll get there one day. I wonder if those will be weird footnotes in history.
But yeah, I was honestly just one of my favorite horror movies. I think it perfectly represents the holiday just the tone and the mood, and just they don't really give you a whole lot of information about this guy other than he's just pure evil,
Hmm.
and it's just a very like an enigma almost.
Hmm. No, yeah, and so I guess for my experience, I had never watched this movie for a very, very long time. Actually, the first time I watched it was in college. But I knew about this movie, of course. I don't know if it was the same for you, but growing up, slasher villains were like a big deal in the schoolyard in elementary, middle school. Like just like the lore around them, like Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers, like everybody
Mhm.
brought them up. So it was just kind of like always a part of the consciousness of like just what I thought about. And I'd seen Nightmare on Elm Street as a kid. I remember seeing Freddy versus Jason in the theater, so I had some experience with Jason. But Michael Myers I just never really watched. I finally did in college. I watched it for one of my classes, and it was in the theater, and it was with all the lights off and everything. It blew me away. I was absolutely amazed by this movie. Like I knew it was good, but this movie, just a creepy movie, like you said. You know, very much an enigma, just this creepy thing. And I remember there was one scene in particular that actually scared me. And I feel like movies don't really scare me, but there was like one part like actually got me, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is impressive." And then I went on to rewatch this movie multiple times. Like this is my like I think my fifth time logging this on Letterboxd, so I've seen it quite a few times since then. But yeah, yeah. So I'm a late bloomer to this Michael Myers Halloween thing.
Yeah, I wonder what part scared you. Was it the part where uh Tommy was getting bullied and that like really scared you to see like
uh,
some bullies?
No, it was the part where the guy was actually driving really slowly down the street, and the girl, she goes, "Speed kills," and then he stops. So it was like, ah, no. That's like my worst fear because I yell that at
Eh,
people.
eh,
Um,
Well, yeah, whenever I've driven in the car with you before, and you constantly yell at other drivers, and that's like
oh
your
yeah,
big thing is like you fear for the day that they stop the car.
I know. Yeah, I just, yeah, I like yelling at cars with no consequence, and I haven't had any consequences yet. But no, I guess to tell you, the scene that got me was there's a scene at the end of the movie where Laurie is like in the doorway and like it's black behind her, and then all of a sudden you see Michael Myers' face. And I remember that freaking me out because like you see nothing, and then it's the light that shines, and it was just like, oh my God, he's been there this whole time, and it actually got me. It still
You
gets me.
screamed in your college class.
Yeah, I screamed like a little baby. No, I didn't scream. I was startled. I would never scream during a movie. I'm a man, Ryan. I'm a man. I don't, you know what? I'm taking it back. I don't get scared, and I didn't get scared during the movie.
You're such a man that your favorite Christmas movie is Die Hard.
Oh, yeah, of course. Die Hard is my favorite Christmas movie. I'm taking that stance nowadays. You know, I'm taking it all back. My other favorite movie, Hacksaw Ridge. Love Hacksaw Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge, Saving Private Ryan. All the war classics. Any Mel Gibson movie, really, except for The Beaver. Yeah, that one's for that one's for little babies.
Oh, I mean, my favorite Mel Gibson movie is What Women Want.
Yeah, of course, because it was true. It truly was what. Well, I thought his
Yeah,
character arc should have went
I
the
was like,
other way
finally,
around.
was like, finally, why don't women just tell you what they want? I can finally know.
There we go. Yeah, I use it as a guide. I use it as a guide for my everyday life. I watch it daily. But with no talking about Mel Gibson right now. I don't even know why I brought him up. This is Halloween, which is actually an independent movie. A lot of people forget this, but this is Jamie Lee Curtis's very first role. This movie was made.
Did you notice when you were watching it that the movie said Oscar winner Jamie Lee Curtis, like in the
I
opening
noticed that
credits?
that they went back and edited that in. Of course, they had to. And she should have won an Oscar for this movie, let me tell you. Um,
And she's holding it like CGI, she's holding it in her hand, like when she's fighting Michael Myers.
I don't remember that. I just remember like it, they were kind of subtle about it. In the background, they CGI'd her Oscar on her
Like on
desk
the
in her
mantle.
room. Yeah, on the mantle. Like it was just CGI'd and kind of like the Star Wars ones. Um, but yeah, so I guess to get into a little bit about this movie is you said that this movie was made because John Carpenter loved Halloween so much. No, he wrote it because he got a paycheck. So after making Assault on Precinct 13, there was two independent filmmakers that had an idea for a movie about a serial killer who killed babysitters. And they approached John Carpenter because they liked Assault on Precinct 13. And he agreed to do it if he had full creative control. And he got full creative control over this movie. So then he got to bring in his own influences on movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and even talked to Bob Clark, who directed Black Christmas, and asked him what would he do for a Black Christmas 2. And I'm guessing, I wonder if like he was like, I would make it take place on Halloween or something. But supposedly what that conversation influenced this movie quite a bit too. But yeah, that's how we got this movie for, I believe the budget on this thing is like super cheap. Yeah. Overall about 300,000 total. Um, and then I mean, this might be for later, but this movie would start a slasher boom like no other. There had been killer movies, slasher movies before this, but Halloween came out, and there is a period of like 3, 4 years where there's so many slasher movies, so much room for material on this show. Like you can just look it up, and there's so many different slasher movies that are just knocking this movie off. Um, but
Oh, I mean, even Friday the 13th was kind of like
yeah.
inspiration from, inspired by this movie because that was the whole deal is like they called that movie Friday the 13th because there were so many like holiday slasher movies.
Hmm. Yeah. So like its influences are there, which is funny that we covered all the Friday the 13th movies before we even touched this one. But those ones were fun because we end up doing those on Friday the 13th, like for the week. Anytime Friday the
I,
13th came up.
yeah, we were just like, oh, well, Friday the 13th coming up. I guess we got to do it. So
Yeah, that was fun.
yeah,
But yeah, so the way this movie starts is we get a POV shot of little Michael Myers walking through the house, and he ends up killing his older sister right there as she is fixing her hair. Already getting off to a crazy start. Because I'm sure this was something else, seeing from the point of view of a mass killer stabbing some just an innocent girl. And the music, oh man, the music in Halloween is so good, done by John Carpenter. And I guess I learned this from reading this, is that there was a more traditional score written for this movie and made for this movie. And I guess during test screenings, they were told it wasn't scary enough, so he went back and made the score for this movie. And I mean, that Halloween theme and like the little riffs throughout all of this is one of the biggest parts of this movie.
oh yeah. I mean, maybe even more so than the
Yeah.
actual movie.
Yeah. Yeah. The Halloween theme. I'm sure there's so many people that know it and have never seen the movie before in their life.
Oh yeah, I mean that's usually like on those CDs are like, oh, like creepy themed
Hmm.
like movie theme songs or whatever horror theme song that's always on there.
Yes. Yeah. It has to be on there. Why isn't the Friday the 13th one on there? The,
Are you sure it's not? I mean,
I'm sure
it
it
might
is.
be.
I'm sure it is. I love that music. But yeah, so Michael does kill his older sister in the beginning of the movie. And then we get Donald Pleasance in this movie, who is a doctor who has been watching Michael Myers, and he's going back
He's
there.
got a little cat.
Huh?
He's got a cat that he carries around and pets.
I think you're getting confused with another Donald Pleasance role. Did you actually watch You Only Live Twice on this time around?
Oh no, he had a little cat, he was stroking it while he was chasing Michael Myers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And he's, I'm going to get you this time, Michael Myers.
Mr. Myers.
Yes. Yeah. I think you're right. I think I'm just misremembering the movie. um, Takes
No,
him to a
no.
secret lair. But no, Donald Pleasance is really fun in this movie because he really just sets up that like I hate Michael Myers. He is pure evil. I've known him for years, and there's no good. There's no rehabilitation. I'm going to keep him locked up no matter what.
Well, it's just so like, the movie opens up with Dr. Loomis, Donald Pleasance, with a nurse like
Mhm.
driving for to go get Michael Myers, and they're like, oh well, he calls him it, like he doesn't even call him he or whatever. He's just like it's
Yeah.
it, and then the nurse is kind of like taken aback. She's like, oh, your bedside manner is awful, type of thing, and he's like, just that is not he's not man. He's just pure evil.
Yeah, it's real. It's a lot of fun. Just yeah, just like really layering that he's evil and like, and that's how he says because he has such a way of pronouncing words in this movie.
Mhm.
Um,
One of the rare times Donald Pleasance actually plays a good guy, though, because
yes,
we he's been in other movies besides James Bond, and we're always just like, oh, here's Donald Pleasance about to be evil.
yeah, yeah, because like, isn't he ends up being the bad
Fantastic
guy in
Voyage.
Fantastic Voyage? Yeah, where it's like, oh wow, that's so obvious. But yeah, here he does play the good guy, but even then he's on the edge, right? Because I tried to take my plate because I tried to almost think about watching this movie in 1978, and this is it. We don't know Michael
You
Myers
got your bell
lore.
bottoms on.
I
You
yeah,
got your
I
you,
just yeah, I just smoked a joint.
you got
Uh,
your leisure suit on maybe instead.
Yes, yeah. Whatever big TV show there was in 1978, I
You
just
just got
watched All in the
you
Family.
just
Just watched that episode of that. And I went back to 78. But seriously, like I guess you don't know that Michael Myers truly is like pure evil, the epitome. And Donald Pleasance, maybe from first look, just sounds crazy, right? Like he could just be like, because he's like, he's evil. I don't respect him, and there's no way he can get out. It almost sounds like somebody who's just like overwhelmingly hates somebody. I mean, we learn that what he says is true, but maybe in the context of its time, he's not as like, it doesn't feel as right.
Well, yeah, I mean, like if you go based off like if you were watching this back then, it's he's just a regular guy. Like, I think he's probably a murderer, obviously,
Yeah.
because we do see him murder his sister, but we don't know that he's some type of otherworldly being,
Hmm.
and that, because at most, he's just a psychopath, and we don't really know that he's probably like, oh well, he's exaggerating just a little bit. He's just a run-of-the-mill murderer.
Hmm. But no, he is a mass killer. And I mean, of course, we like learn that. I mean, I think pretty quickly we learn that he's like this unstoppable force because they do get to the mental institution and all of the inmates are just running around. And Michael Myers actually hops into their car and takes it and steals it. And it's funny.
After killing the nurse.
Yeah, and I think that I forget who says it, because he talks to somebody else. I don't even know where he's from, but just like some government official, maybe a judge or something, and he's just like, okay, like how did he get in the car? How does he know how to drive? And Donald Pleasence, he's just like, well, he looked like he drove it perfectly fine to me. So yeah, and I mean that's what's funny because he goes into the mental institution when he's 6, and he's like stalking kids driving this car around perfectly fine, like all around the town.
Well, I mean, unless the dad showed him how to drive at 6 years old or whatever.
Because he's really young.
Right, well, geez, now that you say it like that, he was only like 21 when all this stuff happens, because it was
Yeah.
1960, 15-year time difference.
Hmm.
So he's like in his early 20s when all this happens.
Yeah, I mean, because they do unmask Michael Myers at the end of this movie, and you do see his face. And I mean, like, his face is kind of messed up, but I wouldn't say he looks old or anything. He's still kind of young and whenever his face gets shown. But I guess that you don't think about it like that because I don't think the movie really wants you to think about it like that. Because the movie, a lot, they always call him the boogeyman throughout this whole movie. And even just revealing the end of the movie where he gets shot multiple times and then his body just disappears and you hear him breathing, right? I think you're supposed to just think of it as like he's just like an evil spirit more than he is a man. I think even Donald Pleasance says something close to that in this movie.
Well, you figure, I mean, this is jumping way ahead.
It's fine. I
Towards the,
mean, Halloween is a tough movie. It's
I,
one of
I,
those movies that's like tough to talk about because everybody knows it.
I mean, literally, Nathan, I probably have seen this movie like 15 to 20
Yeah,
times, somewhere in that number. So, I mean, I've seen it enough times where like I didn't really have to. I mean, I was watching it, but like I already knew
yeah.
like beat for beat what's like going to happen. So,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, like it's really interesting when you think about it, sort of like the ending of this movie when, he does get riddled with, he gets shot like 3 or 4 times,
Hmm.
and then he falls off the balcony of the second floor. And, we see him lying there. And then the next shot, his body's just gone and you can kind of hear some breathing.
Hmm.
And it's almost like I guess that was supposed to be like a big thing, like, oh my God, like he's still alive. Like after all of that, like, they'd never
Hmm.
seen a killer like that possibly.
Hmm. Which, like, yeah, which nowadays that's a trope, right? Like that is something that we see a lot. But back then, that
Well,
the
yeah.
idea of a serial killer even like coming back as many times as he does, like this is the start of that trope.
Well, I mean, it would be more shocking nowadays to see him actually like stay dead.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, like no setup for a sequel. And that's the thing is this movie was written with no sequel in mind anyway. This movie was meant to be its own thing, and then they made a sequel tied to Michael Myers.
And
But
it's interesting too, like because the all the sequels that came out like in the 80s. But yeah, all the sequels from like the 80s and stuff like that, like those are all directly related. Like they're all in a row. Like that's everything that happened from like the first one.
Mhm.
Yeah, all that other stuff happened. And then from like I think like the 2018 movie, or whatever, the 2017 one, uh they're like, oh no, we just ignore all that. And just so it was supposed to be like Michael Myers. He fell off the balcony and then just Laurie never saw him ever
Yeah.
again, just for 40 years.
Which that's a scary idea, right? Like that's pretty haunting. The thought of that, like she would have to live the rest of her life in fear of this thing that just disappeared. Um, which, well, we will get into the Danny McBride movies eventually, I guess. I feel like time has already forgotten those movies, kind of like the Exorcist movie that that they did.
Well, I mean, they really didn't really have a lasting impression. I mean, I thought
I didn't
the
mind them.
first one,
Well,
yeah,
it depends. I don't think they're perfect movies, but the first one I remember it came out and I was like, oh, this is actually really solid.
yeah, I agree. But
Um,
I no, I as far as like this one goes, it is really think that, it's just interesting to think of like audiences had never seen like a monster like this, like a killer where
mhm.
that was completely unstoppable. And just the mood of this movie really does a great job because after he uh after he breaks out, he just starts stalking Laurie Strode and her friends.
Mhm.
And you get kind of like glimpses, like you said, where he's just driving down the road and he's just being really weird. And Lori is just, looking at her window and she thinks she sees something by the clothesline, and then but she looks again and it's gone.
Mhm. Yeah, and what makes I think those are so effective in building the mood because I guess this movie is slow burn in the way of like the big action chase stuff doesn't happen till way late in the movie, last 10 minutes. But there's so much like suspense building up to it of Lori being just like she you can tell with her character that something is just wrong all day. Like that scene of her sitting in the classroom and she looks outside and Michael Myers is just standing there and like how those shots are composed where he's just so far away, right? He's just like kind of like this. Well, in the credits they do call him the Shape, and I mean it's very apt that do call him the Shape because for a lot of the movie he is kind of just a background character watching everything unfold. And I think that's the scariest part of the movie, to be honest, is this thought of something just watching you always.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes some movies, we've talked about it before. There's a really nice balance, I think, of like showing or not showing the character, or like maybe overexposing like a character too much.
Hmm.
This one, I think they do a really good setup of giving like, somebody really stalking, because they do show him as, the shape and everything. It's because a lot of times I think, they go for like the POV too much.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, then now you can see what the killer looks like at the very end of the movie. And, we know what this guy looks like. We know that, he does look like a monster. He's just standing there menacingly with a white mask and a boiler suit.
Hmm.
Um, and also too, I think the mask too. I mean, the legend goes is that was a
Yep.
James Kirk mask from Star Trek, and they just spray painted it white.
Yep, that's exactly it. Yeah, which it's so crazy. That is a fun fact because you wouldn't be able to tell unless you were told. Like once you're told, you can't unsee it, but you wouldn't be able to tell because that white William Shatner mask is just like takes on its own thing, right? But it makes you wonder where he got it, or if he got a James Kirk mask and he spray painted it white himself. He got Star Trek in the mental institution, and he's a big Kirk head.
Well, I mean, they don't really establish it in this movie where he got the mask, do they?
No, yeah, because we do follow some of the stuff he does throughout the day. Like he does break into a hardware store. Um, and he does well, and even then, we don't really know. The cops blame it on kids, but obviously, like he stole like rope and like a shovel so he could dig up the dead body and stuff like that. But even so, like we do follow that. But yeah, we don't know where the outfit or the mask comes from because he does get into the car, and I'm pretty sure we
Well,
get to
the
see a shot.
boilers, the boiler suit he takes from the mechanic that he
Yes.
finds.
Yes, you are right there, but the mask doesn't really get a pinpoint.
No, and then in other movies, how they do it is that he's like Michael Myers has become like such like a figure, like they actually sell Michael Myers
Yeah.
masks, and like he steals a Michael Myers mask.
Yes, yeah, that became like almost a trope for the series itself. But yeah, so like we have this presence here, and then we have like this fun little regular high school story in the middle of it to kind of give it like that little bit of reality where Lori is kind of like the timid but intelligent girl who likes boys but is a little too scared to like say it. And she has two friends that are a little more open to boys. One of them played by one of your favorite actresses. I know you loved her performance in
BJ
Assault.
Souls.
No, 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 no. Nancy Loomis from Assault on Precinct 13. Uh, who I do think gives a better performance in this movie.
I,
Maybe it's a little more fun in this movie.
I don't know. I thought because she plays Annie, right? And
Yes, yeah.
I,
She's
I I thought she was insufferable, like a
really.
horrible friend.
Oh no, I mean
Like
she's not a good friend, but
no,
yeah.
not okay. No, not acting ability. That's not what I'm referring to.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Acting ability, she's decent, whatever. But
Yeah.
like I remember, this was like the first time I'm like listening to all the dialogue like her friends are saying, and
Yeah.
I'm like Laurie's like the only good person out of this trio. Like the other
Yeah.
two are horrible.
Yeah, Nancy Loomis's her storyline is that she wants to go on a date and she has like she's babysitting a girl as well and basically pawns that little girl onto to onto
For Laurie.
to Lori so she could go sleep with this guy and basically leaves Lori with two kids and Lori's like, "Okay, that's fine." Because Lori actually like takes care of takes care of the kid that she watches because he's obviously a little nervous because he's seen Michael Myers all day as well and is like a little scared of the boogeyman. And it's like
Um,
just nice kid stuff together. Oh, go ahead.
One thing I noticed in the movie, so I mentioned it earlier, like the bully scene where like Tommy is getting bullied at the beginning of the movie,
Yes.
and uh, and he gets knocked over, and he's holding a pumpkin, and then he smushes the pumpkin. Don't you like? don't you think that pumpkin had to be like super rotten for him to like? Because I mean, if you think about it, if you got like a fresh pumpkin,
Yeah.
Nathan, and you just like you landed on it, you might like dent it a little bit, but you wouldn't full on just like flatten it.
No, it probably really hurt, right? Like I'm thinking
Yeah.
about like I've been to pumpkin patches and you fall over in there. I bet you it would actually hurt a good amount. Not saying that a rotten
You're
pumpkin
like
would
landing on a
hurt.
boulder.
Maybe not that hard, right? But like
But
it wouldn't
it would,
smush.
it's like he fell chest first onto the
Hmm.
pumpkin, and the pumpkin just like just
Yeah.
flattened as a pancake.
Did he take like the last pumpkin that he could and it was like the rotten,
Well,
gross one?
he was at school, so I mean, did he get it from school, or
Why does he even have a
did they
pumpkin? Did he carry that around all day?
did they go to like a pumpkin patch field trip or something like that day maybe? And
It's possible. See, these are the questions that need to be answered. And this is why John Carpenter's script is one of the worst I've ever seen in a movie. But no, that's funny that you say that because I guess I've never thought of that. But now I'm like, oh yeah, you're right.
and then also Nathan, where did you watch this?
I watched this on Plex. Did you watch it on there?
I did.
Horrible quality, right?
It's
Horrible,
terrible.
horrible, horrible. I was watching this with my fiance in the room, and I was just like, this is like one of the worst versions of this movie I've ever seen. Cuts to green. It like I forget what all it did. I think it skipped at one point.
The audio mixing in this movie is awful too.
Horrible.
The music was like blaring, and it was
Yeah.
so like at the beginning of the movie, like if music was going, I couldn't hear a word these characters were
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. And I think because I've seen this movie multiple other times and have not had these issues, I'm pretty sure whatever version Plex has, it feels like a bad DVD rip. I don't one of the most popular movies of all time, and Plex has like the worst version of it.
I don't know. I was like really tempted to just to get like a different version.
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised that I don't even own a copy of this movie, but sometimes streaming is the easiest way to put on a movie. And yeah, I watched it the whole way through like that. And it was just it was a little disappointing. Um but I do want getting back to the movie, another one of her friends is PJ Souls, of course, from
Rock and Roll High School.
yeah, of course, Riff Randall. One of the great movies that we've covered.
Hmm.
And she's fun in this movie. She's like the
Another
promiscuous
Bob
friend.
Clark movie.
Oh God, wait, Rock and Roll High School isn't a Bob Clark movie. Stop. I don't know what you're doing there. But yeah, she's like promiscuous. She has a friend that she's sleeping with. There's like the sex scene in this is always funny because it goes by so fast, and then after they're done, she's smoking a cigarette and she's like, "Get me a beer," and makes him to get up to get her a beer.
You know what? Well, she's like, at first she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get you a beer," and he's like, "Oh, thanks." He's like, "Actually, I want you to go get me a beer." He's like, "I thought you were gonna go." He's like, "Well, now I want you to go get it."
Uh-huh. And then that's actually one of the best Michael Myers parts because yeah, he kills him downstairs, puts a knife through him, so he's like hanging. His great shot of his feet not touching the ground after getting killed, and he shows up to her like in her room wearing like the classic Sheet Ghost costume, which I think is so funny that Michael Myers at least it's almost like he's got a little humor in him. He's like, you know what, it'd be funny if I took a sheet, cut some holes out, and I should and
And
I
he puts the guy's glasses on too, like over the sheet.
yeah, he's like pretending to be him. Um,
Uh, that couple is gross too because they were talking. They're like,
yes.
'cause I remember this line that every time I hear it, I've heard it multiple times. It's just they're like because they're talking about like, oh, what we're gonna do? We're gonna run into this house because they think Annie is in there,
Hmm.
and they're like, it's like, okay, we're gonna go in there, we're gonna rip Annie's clothes off, then we're gonna rip Paul's clothes off, and then we're gonna rip Lindsay's clothes off.
Which
And I'm
is the
like,
little
that's the
girl.
little girl. Like you
Yeah. It's
like,
so
oh.
weird.
And then, PJ Soul's like, you're bad.
Yeah.
Just
Like kind of like,
like,
oh, like not like, wow, that was really gross and
yeah,
I'm done with
like
you.
any other person would just look at me like, what the hell are you talking? Like, get away from me. Like,
Yeah, no, they're both just like, oh, that's so funny. And but which lucky for her, she's not there whenever they show up to the house.
yeah.
Um and also, what are these parents doing? All of them. They're gone all night. They like none of them come home
This
early.
this neighborhood is a ghost town. Like,
Yes.
I mean, this is Halloween. Now, granted, it's, like they're, the people should be like out walking or do,
Hmm.
like at all hours, but there's not a soul in this neighborhood. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think it's like that late at night or that I remember.
Not for most of the movie, I don't feel like. I feel like by the end it's really late, but like at the beginning, no, not really. And there's really not many kids running around in this town, and there's not many decorations. Maybe in 78 Halloween wasn't like quite the I guess phenomenon, a weird way to put it, but as popular as it is now. Um but anyway, I agree. It is a ghost town, but not that it affects the movie in any way. It definitely makes it feel like danger because there's a time when Lori goes out and she's screaming, trying to get people to come outside to check on her, and there's like a home where they just close the blinds and they're like, just
They
get
they
away.
turned the porch light on and they could see her screaming out the window, and then they shut
Uh,
the porch light off. And I'm like,
mhm.
it's like horrible. Like, this
Oh yeah,
poor
that's
girl.
like despicable. Um, but yeah, so you kind of have this build up this whole movie. People are trying to get picked off. You get really connected to Lori and these two kids. And eventually Michael Myers does show up for the final 10 minutes of this movie. And God, it is this part of the movie is so good. It's just like nonstop, really great chase scene stuff. It still holds up to this day because it's still like really solid stuff. Like one where there's like the scene where Lori's hiding in the closet and Michael Myers is trying his best to break in, and she's just sitting there, just like screaming as he's like trying to bash down the door. There's the scene, of course, that I talked about scaring me earlier in the podcast. I love that. It's so much of like this. Michael Myers won't die because he gets stabbed. He's on the ground and he keeps getting back up the whole time.
I think it's a really effective buildup because like the whole movie, we do see Michael killing these people off one by one. Like, he strangles Annie in the car,
Hmm.
or PJ Soul's character, kills her. And then, Paul, the other guy,
Yeah, Paul.
Rand, I think his name. No, Paul was Annie's boyfriend. Rand was
Oh,
the
that's
glasses
right.
guy.
Yeah.
I think his name is Rand. Anyway, he gets stabbed. But like the best part, I think, is like, Lori, she goes over to the house where Annie is supposed to be because she's like, I haven't heard from these people from a long time. Like, I don't know what's going on. And
Hmm.
she just walks over there, and then it's just like one by one, like she finds Annie's dead body, splayed on the bed with the Judith Myers headstone. And then she's just like, yeah, she just finds all these bodies like one by one. And then
Hmm.
that's when the scene where Michael finally appears.
Hmm.
And it's a really effective because, it's because we're kind of getting it from her POV. Like, she realizes like, oh my God, like all my friends are just dead, like in front of me. And then
Hmm.
she has to run back to her house, and Michael is just slowly walking menacingly. He's not chasing after her.
Hmm.
And, you know, and I still think it's funny. Like, she throws the potted plant up and hits Tommy's window. Like,
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, I love that bit. Oh, I gotta mention this. I have to. And now it's coming to me in my film class where we watched this. My professor was so honed in that this movie was about Michael's repressed sexuality, and that's like what it was all about, him wanting to have sex with his sister, and that's why he killed her. And like it was like this whole thing, and I remember being like, I don't think I quite agree with this. But one of the most egregious parts was my professor talks about the dog killing scene because Michael Myers kills the family dog at one point. And he's like, okay, let's
Lindsay's dog, yeah.
yeah, Lindsay's dog, and it's like he's holding it and then drops it slowly. And we watched that scene in slow-mo, and my professor was like, yeah, wasn't that really sexual how he was holding the dog? And I was just like, I remember
What?
thinking, nobody responded to this. I remember thinking that and being like, okay, buddy, like you're really looking
I,
way too deep into this. He's supposed to just be
um,
an evil killer.
I'd be like, is that your interpretation, or do you have like actual sources on that? Like, I mean,
I
there's
think it
something you
was
want to
all
tell us,
him.
Professor?
Yeah. He was an interesting guy. Yeah, I just remember hearing that and being like, what the fuck?
No, I would have rolled my eyes. I'd be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but that's what film school is all about, overanalyzing
Oh
to a
yeah.
disgusting point.
Oh yeah. There was some classes I had where uh, people would just like really read into a lot of these movies, and I would just
Mhm.
like, huh?
Yeah. That's kind of like that's a whole conversation for another day of like I feel like there's people out there just overanalyze movies when a movie should just be a movie, which that's what Halloween is. It's just a slasher, but it's a damn well-made slasher. It's just like and I think that's why like I don't quite agree with Ebert and Siskel, who like trash slashers, told people to go to like to dox. They doxed like an actress over a movie. But when they said like this is like a great movie, Halloween is one of the great ones. Yeah, I mean Halloween just sets up so much of the blueprint that makes these movies good. Great main character, great villain, amazing chase scenes. Just has a really solid look and a great tense buildup. I've seen so many slashers here that are just really boring for the most part. But this one does a good job of maintaining that tense atmosphere without doing too many POV shots. It does the right amount of everything. I think that's why it makes it one of my this is just one of my all-time favorite movies.
It is funny that like of all the slash movies that Ebert loved this one because I mean
Yeah.
especially out of the two of them just abhors violence,
Yes.
and and this one I mean it's like maybe for 70 standards it was probably a lot, but I mean it's pretty mild compared to what
Oh
you
yeah.
see now, and that's just funny, like that's the one slasher which like you said sort of tells you all you need to know.
Mhm.
Again, I one of my favorite slash movies, one of my favorite horror movies, probably my favorite horror movie.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think I'd
um,
have to
I
agree.
I just one that I could watch this movie every year around around the holiday Halloween season. It's just that good. I give it one of my highest recommendations.
Yeah, same here. If you've never seen Halloween, you have to see it. It's a must see for anybody who likes movies. But you know what? I think that's gonna. We could probably sit here for hours and talk about this movie, but I think that's gonna put a wrap on this one. And then we're gonna get a little more weird with John Carpenter next time around. So I think that'll be a good time. But Ryan, remind us, what are we covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, we're going back to Godzilla with Godzilla, Mothra, Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack, which is streaming on Tubi and YouTube for free.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to watch that one. And if you want to email us, you can email us at driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast@gmail.com. Send us any recommendations. We would love to hear from you. Be sure to check out our Patreon. But until next time.
Until next time.